What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review a compilation album by Frank Sinatra. Basically, this product is called This Is Sinatra, and it came out in It came out in the fall of 1956. So the fair about this product here is this is a collection of Frank Sinatra's singles from the 50s and pitches like that, some B-sides, some of those type fairs. And particularly within these aspects, I'm not as full bunch here. Some of these type ones appeared on other albums, pitches like that. This is the second Frank Sinatra album I reviewed in recent times within these pitches as far as these formats can happen. I'm going to start getting to some more of these, but this is the pitch as far as saying kind of within the composition that Frank Sinatra was pretty large on the scene as far back as like the 1940s as well, pitched like that, so he did have a pretty hefty collection of singles and some of those type fairs they have within the mainstream type appeal of it. It's kind of the pitch as far as saying this is the product, more or less I'd say pretty much like a greatest hits collection, some of those type of deals within the aspect. It's kind of the tone of like that particular fair as far back as like the 50s as far as those formats going to happen, just looking after it. Now, particularly one of the reasons why I'm reviewing this particular product as opposed to other ones is because Larry the Batman fan had recommended a song of Frank Sinatra to me within these pitches, which I was searching for, and it's on this particular project, which is I've Got the World on a String. So it's kind of fair. I was going to review the product that had that particular song on it, and this is the one that has that as far as those fairs go. So I look after within the tone. I was unsure if this was on a particular Frank Sinatra album as far as these fairs go have, but it was at least a single release somewhere in the 50s or the 40s, somewhere within those aspects. So it's kind of the tone as far as saying this is a particular product of it. But it kind of collects some of these other type ones here within the pitch as far as getting towards some of these type ones that were I'm not as full bencher as to how many singles that Frank Sinatra released around this time that were kind of spare and loosey type ones within aspects as far as the tone's going to happen, with this not really having like a composition kind of home as far as this ass is going to go. But I look within the pitch as far as saying this shows some excellent type product here, that it does collect a series of these. It definitely is pretty excellent that it collects a series of these within these pitches. So this is an easy classic here within these pitches. Frank Sinatra in his prime as far as those formats going to happen. This particularly having the banner type appeal. Now compared to like the particular album that I reviewed recently by Frank Sinatra in the wee small hours of the morning, pitches like that, this one is not quite as much muddy kind of night music within those appeals as far as like the product is something to listen to between like the hours probably like 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock or 7:30, 8:30 in the morning, pitches like that. Not as much full-blown breakfast music on here, but this particular album does have a good series of songs for some socializers. There's some ones on this like on here like I've Got the World on a String, and like South the Border, some of these types of ones. There's some other type ones. There's some lounge and kind of mingle and lobby type music within some of these type of ordeals. Like Love is the Tender Trap, some of these type ones on here. Don't Worry About Me, some of these types of pitches. There's a series of these. Learning the Blues, some of these type of products. So it's a little bit more social comparatively this time. Not quite as swamped and upside down, but it's kind of the pitch as far as saying you get that classic kind of appeal with like these personal type ones that have the aspect of just like some brooding as well within the tone. So this has the particular fair, pretty candid and central nightlife circuit of the 1950s as far as these fairs can happen. I'm not as full, but I think most of these probably were singles within these aspects as far as these tones going to happen. Most 10 out of 12 of these songs have articles written about them on Wikipedia, so it's kind of the ordeal that these are probably, if not by Frank Sinatra himself, or just popular songs from that particular era of at least up to like mid-late, not at least up to late 1956 as far as these formats can happen. So just excellent within these ordeals as far as the products can happen. But yeah, this album gets an easy 10 out of 10, so just being able to say. So I'll go ahead and talk about the song I've Got the World on a String first. This is a song that Larry the Batman fan recommended to me, pitches like that. So it's kind of the ordeal. Particularly this song is like a debonair kind of city living, pitches like that. I have to say just some Starry Step Out and Socialize that I have to say here, products like that, just a jazzy type song. This kind of product, so there is going to be some excellent kind of butter smooth type factor like the jazz type fashion, pitches like that for like jazz, more places like jazz bars and Blues Brothers type areas, pitches like that within Sunset products within tones as far as those aspects going to go. So this is the product getting towards the socialize of how things kind of were back in the 50s. So it's just more Frank Sinatra kind of within the element of like the socialized factor about it, where it is going to have some gab and pitches like that amidst these tones. There's a good series of these within these products that has some aspects that just like further type product, not so much being retired type music like previous. And as I say, like there'd be not as if there's a problem with it, but it's just a different tenor as far as those pitching happens. So it's good type flair to have for some of these step out type fashions. So like seeing the starry kind of city nights pitches like that. So good type tones. Another one within that similarity is South the Border. This is a nice one here. It's like a nice swinging kind of vacay breeze, kind of get within the aspects of it. There's some city life amidst like the heat, I'd say, within the aspects of it here. It's kind of some 50s sunshine as far as those pitching happens. So this going to miss a tab, but going to Mexico like in the 50s, some of these type places within the aspects as far as these tones going to happen. It's kind of the socialized, or typically when you think of Frank Sinatra in the 50s, you probably think of like the East Coast places like Skyscraper, some of those starry type places like, you know, Detroit and New York City, Manhattan, some of those type places in particular. But it's kind kind of a good product to get Frank Sinatra in some new type scenery and settings as far as this pitch can happen, kind of questioning, Frank Sinatra were he to go to Mexico and places like that, more tropical type places, just more missed aspect and more beachside type stuff, how he handles that particular fair. Very much feels basically like a 50s rendition of something you would kind of catch from like the Scarface movie from like the 80s, just that sort of just debonair type fashion, just in a more tropical kind of vacay type sense. So it's this kind of pitch of this, if you were to take like Scarface from 1983 and put that in like some mid 1950s type style within that jazzy kind of factor of it, with more like the 50s type style is kind of the pitch about that good type ordeals. Very similar to some of those folks like Tony Bennett, some of those type of ordeals, despite the fact that Frank Sinatra is older than Tony Bennett, pitch like that, but within the variety about it. Another one within these ordeals is learning the blues, like a jury kind of ballroom and lobby mingle, kind of get within the products of it here, just cozy, pretty cozy song pitches like that, just a few drinks up, I'd say within the products of it, just some easy kind of slick jazz as far as those first to have. So dismiss the pitch, typical type format, just kind of in the element of like the socialized type factor, just getting towards the product like some gab and some of those type fairs, just to miss the conduct of the embellish and like retro type styles of how those aspects are going to happen. So basically just banner and vintage kind of swinging type music. Now I don't know as many full bound type folks within those aspects, within those particular varieties as far as those tones going to happen. I would most surely say this is just typical type format of this vintage, kind of takes you back to mid 50s, some of those type fairs within it. Young at Heart's a nice one as well. It's like a nice theater-like kind of dawn passage, kind of get within the aspects. So there are some morning songs within these aspects for similar vibes to like In the Wee Small Hours, pitches like that. Some good type fare. Very much the kind of, you'd be hearing like the birds chirping, some of those type formats within like the dew and the balm on the leaves out there as far as this pitch can have within the aspect. Just a retro kind of commerce type song pitches like that. And by retro commerce, I mean the format of like 50s kind of SFW music. I'd say some good tunes like Grab the Newspaper and some Fritos as far as this aspect's going to happen. It's going for like a snack run in a more brisk type sense as far as this aspect's going to go along with it, just kind of the passage. Frank Sinatra has a pretty good embrace of like morning type embellish. He's like, it's not to say full bound he's a complete morning person, but he's not a stranger to being able to do some of these type ones. If there is the requirement to be awake at like 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, it's kind of the aspect as far as saying it's just the tone, as far as having that composition that if it calls for it to kind of have like some morning shifts, there's kind of the tunes for that as far as those fares kind of happen for like the day shift kind of passage, the breakfast shift kind of passage, the Starbucks runs and some of these type places, I have to say. Another one like that is Rain, I'd have to say within these fashions, like a slump but cheery kind of brisk hours, kind of get within the products of it here, just some springtime frolic. Pretty similar to Young at Heart, some of these type ones, pretty similar to certain tunes off of In the Wee Small Hours, pitches like that. Definitely some good springtime frolic and pep as far as what's going to happen is breakfast, good type fares for that. Just some wake and bake I would definitely recommend. So just the pitch. Now obviously within the full bound type fashion, considering the fare as to how things were back in the 50s, just the aspect, but definitely nowadays in the pitch as far as getting like some stonage in your system as far as the aspect, having a swisher in there, some of those type products, and just listening to this particular fare 70 years later, some of those type aspects is a good type fare to kind of have like some retro type vibes and like some good breakfast music to get lifted to within some of that old school type fashion. So good type product for that. Three Coins in the Fountain's a nice one as well. As like a late shift retire to kind of get this vintage Sinatra unwind, I'd say, within the aspects of it here. Just typical like those croonings that he would do throughout the 50s, 60s in his prime pitches like that, even the 70s. So good candles, some candlelight pitches like that, and schmooze as far as those aspects kind of happen. So just great for pretty much maybe like the 50s rendition of like how Spotify streaming bleed would kind of be within those aspects. Just kind of after effect of something to play past probably 7:30 p.m. pitches like that within those aspects about it. Good type fare as far as those aspects going to happen. The Gal That Got Away is a nice one within these pitches as well. It's like a late shift mingled, kind of get within the aspects of it here. Just mess hall and court hall kind of noise as far as those aspects going to happen. Just has some good composition about it within places where there's going to be more folks and populate type things. Overall good, just has another good kind of gab type song pitch like that. Great song to run up the tab and have some goodies nearby for divas as far as those pitch can happen. So just to miss the product, just making sure to come equipped with some of those type products, just having the game and the extra type, income to have for like the aspect of like a weathered kind of night as far as this pitch can happen, or a lengthy one as far as this pitch can go along with this. So this is kind of the product of it. Easy kind of after effect type product to like some night shift soiree as far as this pitch can happen. Night shift soiree as far as those pitch camps, excellent type ordeals. I don't know if I talked about Love and Marriage, but this is another quality one here as well. It's like a good typical kind of day shift and 50s kind of music to kind of post up with some good type fares, just up and at them within these pitches. I'd say just Smell the Coffee, one of those type ones with an aspect, just a good bop to kind of have. So just kind of the product. Just some further kind of early hours embrace as far as those formats kind of have. So excellent type ordeals for some of these type ones. Don't Worry About Me. I don't know if I talked about Don't Worry About Me, but this is a nice one as well. It's like a good post-hour kind of lounge music to kind of get here, just smoke real nice. This one, some of these type of products with an aspect is debonair, kind of outs pitches like that, pretty similar to like I Got the World on a String, some of these type ones, but just more in the pitch. It is not quite as festive with an aspect behind, not quite as spicy, but just some late enjoy as far as this person can happen. It's kind of, there are some time waste songs in here within the pitch behind it. It's not so much in a full-bound rush and hurry as far as this pitch can happen. Just to miss the tone and dislike the embrace of kind of appreciating some of these type ones. Kind of one that some folks will say to sip your drink slow. Some of those type aspects kind of tone as far as not finishing like your drink or your smoke type product within 5 or 10 minutes. Some of those type pitch is just appreciating the embellish behind it. Just kind of having some moments where time doesn't go from 7 o'clock p.m. to 3 o'clock in the morning within, 5 or 8 minutes as far as this pitch counts. So just kind of the ordeal about it, but just some good lounge type fare, good type product. I don't know if I talked about Love is the Tender Trap, but this is a nice one as well. It's like a snazzy kind of socialized embrace, kind of get within the aspects of it. This vintage kind of 50s swing, I'd say just go for a night around as far as this pitch counts. So this one goes along pretty well with some of these type ones, like I've Got the World on a String and South of the Border, some of these type products. Just the easy aspect of this, particular kind of Starry City Lights, some of those type aspects within the tone. Just another social type one within pitch as far as like the conduct. More or less, maybe not so much dance club full bound type music, but definitely in the product did like a retro type fashion, something to kind of have for like the aspect, like some kind of curriculums with like the outing type fare and like a throwback type sense. It's kind of the product about it. I don't think I've talked about From Here to Eternity either, but this is a nice one. It's like a good brisk hours and stretch and yawn to kind of get within the aspects of it here. Good early hours pitches like that. Some after effect to like the pep of it. Just good breakfast and time waste as far as this fair is going to happen. So it's kind of a breakfast type song, but not so much within the aspect like the full bound kind of gotta rush out the door pitches like that and get started with the day. It's this kind of aspect of having some spare type moments, appreciate like the pancakes or the bacon and eggs, some of those type products within the aspect. It's kind of the fare. Have a good smoke break. Some of these type fares, grab like the newspaper out of the yard if you get that within some of those type products as far as those aspects going to happen. Just kind of the aspect, just good cozy kind of dewy type music within the tone, so good type pitch. I think one of the last ones I haven't talked about on here is my One and Only Love. It's like a good rosy kind of homebound thought to kind of get within the aspects of it. Just a tidy kind of, to be a good song to tidy the house pitches like that. Just some spare extra moments here. I'd say a good song to recline to. This is kind of the aspects as far as saying another of these type ones that kind of has more time wasting. My One and Only Love's another of these type ones in here that's like a time waste type one with the extra type pitch, a despair type within the aspects as far as like some moments that are not quite here or there within these pitches as far as these formats can happen. So it's just kind of the fare, being around the house, just some extra type fare. Not so much a retired type music with the aspect of more mingle and with the aspect of more rosiness and kind of lounge as far as those aspects can happen, but just kind of the extra fare, just kind of this in between type fashions for like a Frank Sinatra song as far as these pitch can happen. Just kind of spare within those aspects, but just kind of some good routine kind of Sinatra throw on just around the house within those aspects. Not so much dance or super, it is kind of rosy, but it's just the pitch as far as saying just a product of just like not so much amidst like the pitch and night fares like that, just kind of extra type moments for like some just kind of some superfluous kind of Frank Sinatra moments as far as this pitch comes. So this extracurricular type product about a good type fare. I think that about covers every song on this album as far as these fits can happen within the pitch. I think I covered these. I'd say within the fashion I did. So this album gets a 10 out of 10. The social score more or less, I think in terms of the folks that remember this particular album, this is covered with hits. I think it has a number of these within these aspects as far as these tones can happen. This vintage 50s, throwback type styles, recognizable hits. Some of these might be cover songs, but this kind of pitch as far as saying they're just collection of hits that are pretty recognizable within the context of like 70 years ago and further as far as this pitch can happen. But excellent type products kind of get this. It's the banner victory lap for Frank Sinatra as far as these pitch can happen. Just prime type stuff as far as these pitch going to go. I look after it. The aspect behind this, I do like the composition of this. This has some good socialized type aspects on here. The songs to get the drinks in your system, some mingle, some kind of lobby type music, mess hall type music, pitches like that. Just have like some, even like some swinging kind of vacay type music, some of those type products that getting Frank Sinatra out of places that are not just New York. Some of those type fares has a good aspect like the city kind of lights, some of those type products like an aspect behind it. I do like these morning songs as well within some of those type pitches that just wake and bakes and breakfast, some of those type fares that just miss like starting your day and kind of having the aspect, whether it is just lounging and time waste or the aspect of getting along like the SFW kind of peps. It's this kind of fair of Monday type music, Friday type music in the 50s type sense. It's this kind of fair as far as doing it. It's a good type product. So in terms of the future, the unfortunate thing is Frank Sinatra is deceased. In terms of the future, the unfortunate aspect is Frank Sinatra is deceased and has been for almost 30 years as far as this pitch counts. It's just the ordeal as far as saying, but he does have a good several of these that span several decades, the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, so on, type products within the pitch behind it. With some excellent type fair. It's a compilation of several of his hits. This easy clean sweep of like a batch of Easy clean sweep of like several batches singles that do have some staple type appeal out of the 50s pitches like that. So some good type aspects for like some heavy hittiness aspects like that. I'd say just a good type product here. Pulling off like an early bird type tenor for a greatest hits album out of the 50s. Some of those type products within the tone and just some good B-sides and pitches like that. Just more secret type songs.